the twin suns burned high over the endless desert of the planet Orion. Heat waves rose from the golden sands, making the horizon shimmer like water. Daniel pulled the cloth tighter around his face as he stepped out of the rover. His boots sank slightly into the soft sand, and he squinted at the endless dunes stretching in every direction. He had dreamed of adventure beyond Earth since childhood, and now, standing on a planet no human had ever touched before, he felt both nervous and excited. The research crew of 7 had been sent by the Human Exploration Council to study unusual readings from beneath the surface of Orion. The scanners had picked up strange metallic signals too structured to be natural. "Daniel, check the coordinates again," called Myra, the science officer of the group. Her voice was sharp, but Daniel could hear the excitement in it too. She stood near the rover, adjusting her visor to shield her eyes from the sun. Daniel glanced down at the handheld scanner. "It's here. Just a few meters beneath us. The signal is strong." The team set to work. Using drilling tools and sand sweepers, they began to dig carefully. Hours passed, the sun shifted, and sweat ran down their faces under their suits. The desert gave no mercy, but none of them slowed down. They all felt that something important was waiting beneath. Finally, Daniel's tool struck something solid. The sound was different from rock, it rang like metal. He dropped to his knees and swept the sand away with both hands. As the golden surface slowly appeared, his breath caught in his chest. It was not simple stone or metal, but a smooth, shining material that reflected the sun like a mirror. The others rushed over. "What is it?" Myra asked, her voice low, as though speaking too loudly might wake something ancient. "It's a structure," Daniel whispered. "And it's huge." Together, they cleared more sand, revealing sharp angles. The tip of a massive pyramid began to show, rising from the dunes. Its surface was not plain gold but covered with glowing patterns, shifting gently as though alive. No one spoke for a long moment. Captain Rowan, leader of the expedition, finally broke the silence. "We need to record this. This is bigger than any discovery made by humans in the last century." They set up cameras and drones, sending data back to their orbiting ship. The pyramid seemed endless, its base still buried deep under the sands. By evening, a storm rose in the distance. The twin suns began to dip, casting long shadows across the golden surface. As the winds howled, Daniel remained close to the pyramid. He could not pull his eyes away. Strange markings ran across the surface, lines that curved like rivers, spirals that seemed to move when the wind blew, and symbols that lit faintly when touched by shadow. He reached out, almost without thinking, and placed his hand on one of the glowing symbols. The surface was warm beneath his palm. Suddenly, a pulse of light ran across the pyramid, spreading like ripples in water. The ground beneath their feet trembled. The others shouted in alarm, running back toward the rover, but Daniel remained frozen in place. The golden surface seemed to react only to him. "Daniel, step back!" Myra shouted. But before he could move, a deep sound rumbled through the air. Sand slid down the sides of the structure, and a section of the pyramid opened, revealing a dark passageway leading inside. A soft golden glow spilled out from within, lighting the desert in a strange and calm way. Everyone stared. For a long moment, no one spoke. The wind howled, the sands swirled, and the golden light shimmered like a beacon. Rowan finally spoke, his voice firm but full of wonder. "This is no ordinary ruin. This is something alive." Daniel pulled his hand back slowly, his heart racing. He looked at the opening, then at his crew. It wanted me to touch it, he said. It opened because of me. Myra shook her head, disbelief on her face. That's impossible. Ancient machines don't just respond to a random explorer. Yet as the storm grew louder around them, and the pyramid stood unshaken, glowing brighter than ever, everyone felt the truth in Daniel's words. The first door to the pyramid of endless gold had opened, and it had chosen him. The storm outside raged, but the golden passage in the pyramid glowed with calm light. Sand whipped across the desert, striking the rover and howling around the explorers, yet inside the open doorway was silence. Daniel stood at the entrance, staring into the dark tunnel that seemed to lead endlessly downward. Captain Rowan ordered the team to gather near the opening. "We will go inside," he said. "The storm will not end for hours, and this pyramid is not a natural structure. It must be studied." His tone was steady, but even he could not hide the awe in his eyes. Myra frowned. "We do not know what is inside. It could be dangerous." Rowan nodded. "That is why we go carefully. But this is the discovery of a lifetime. No one has ever seen anything like it. If it responds to humans, then we must understand why." Daniel listened quietly. His heart still raced from what had happened. He felt as though the pyramid had called to him, like it had been waiting for someone to arrive. He could not explain the feeling, but it pressed on his mind. The crew prepared their equipment. Lights clicked on, scanners buzzed, and drones were ready to fly ahead. One by one, they stepped inside the glowing passage. The golden walls shimmered with a soft radiance, enough to see clearly without lamps. The deeper they walked, the quieter everything became, as if the pyramid swallowed every sound of the storm outside. Daniel ran his hand along the smooth wall as they moved. The surface felt warm, not like stone or cold metal. Strange patterns ran across it, flowing like rivers of light. When his fingers brushed one, the glow grew brighter. Myra noticed and raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The passage sloped downward. It seemed to stretch endlessly, yet the crew pressed forward. After several minutes, they entered a vast chamber. The ceiling rose high above, lost in shadows, while the floor stretched wide with polished golden tiles. At the center stood towering machines, shaped like pillars with curved arms and glowing veins of light. They were silent, yet their design was beyond anything human or alien engineers had ever created. "This is older than any known civilization," Myra whispered. She set her scanner down on the floor and watched as the numbers rushed across the screen. "Energy levels are off the scale. The walls are alive with power." Rowan walked slowly toward the nearest pillar, studying its design. "These machines look as if they are waiting." But waiting for what? Daniel felt the same thought stirring in his chest. The pyramid had opened to him. Were these machines also waiting for him? He did not know, and the thought both thrilled and frightened him. The crew spread out to explore. Some examined the machines, while others scanned the walls. Daniel wandered to the far side of the chamber, where a staircase led further down. He paused, staring into the darkness below. The air that rose from the stairwell was warm and carried a faint hum, like the breathing of some giant creature. Myra joined him, her eyes fixed on the steps. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "It feels alive. Like it knows we're here." She frowned, shaking her head. "I have studied ruins on 3 different worlds. None of them ever felt like this. This pyramid was not built just for decoration. It has a purpose." Before Daniel could reply, the floor trembled slightly. A low vibration filled the chamber. The golden veins in the machines pulsed with brighter light, and the air grew thick with energy. The crew stopped what they were doing, alarmed. "What did we touch?" one of the engineers asked, panic in his voice. But Daniel had touched nothing this time. The machine seemed to awaken simply because he was near the stairs. As if responding, the staircase lit up with golden symbols, one after another, forming a glowing path deeper into the pyramid. Rowan's eyes narrowed. He looked at Daniel, then at the glowing stairs. "It is reacting to you again," he said. Myra's gaze was sharp. "Why him? Why only him?" Daniel felt every eye on him. He swallowed, uncertain how to answer. "I don't know. I feel like it wants me to go down there." The silence that followed was heavy. Rowan finally spoke. "Then we go. All of us. We will not let one man walk into danger alone. But we follow the path it gives." The crew prepared once more. Their lights cut through the warm glow as they descended the golden stairs. Each step hummed softly under their boots. The deeper they went, the stronger the energy became, like the pyramid was alive and breathing around them. At the bottom, they found another chamber, smaller but stranger. The walls here were covered in shifting symbols that moved like flowing water. At the center was a round door sealed tight, its surface glowing faintly. Daniel stepped forward, drawn to it. His hand hovered over the door, his pulse quickening. The symbols shifted as though waiting for his touch. Behind him, Myra whispered, almost to herself, "It is choosing him." But why humans? Why Daniel? The answer lay beyond the sealed golden door, waiting in silence. The sealed golden door loomed in front of Daniel and the crew. Its surface shifted with glowing patterns, as if it were alive. The light swirled when Daniel raised his hand, waiting for his touch. His heart beat fast as he pressed his palm against the door. A deep vibration echoed through the chamber. The patterns rearranged themselves into circles, and the door slid open with a slow grinding sound. A soft golden mist drifted out, cool and strange, wrapping around them like a gentle breeze. Beyond the door stretched a long hallway filled with glowing symbols. Rowan motioned forward. "We go together. Stay alert." The crew stepped into the hall. As soon as Daniel crossed the threshold, the door closed behind them with a heavy thud. They all turned, startled, but the way back was gone. Only the path ahead remained. The hall led into a circular chamber. The walls glowed with moving lines, and in the center stood 3 tall doors, each marked with different symbols. The first door showed an image of a flame. The second had the shape of 2 hands joined together. The third was marked with an eye. Myra studied them closely. These are not just decorations. They are choices. Before she could explain more, the golden voice of the pyramid filled the chamber. It was not spoken in sound but in thought, flowing directly into their minds. The words were simple, yet they carried weight. Courage. Unity. Truth. Daniel shivered. He had never heard anything like it. The pyramid was speaking to them, giving them a trial. Rowan stepped forward, his voice firm. "It is a test. And it wants us to choose." The crew debated. Some wanted to turn back, but the sealed door made that impossible. Others argued over which trial to take first. In the end, Rowan looked at Daniel. "It responds to you. Which one do you feel is right?" Daniel studied the doors. His eyes lingered on the flame symbol. Something inside him whispered that courage must come first. He stepped toward it. The door slid open, revealing a chamber of shifting firelight. Flames burned across the floor, yet there was no heat. The fire formed paths of light, twisting and turning like a maze. At the far end was another glowing door. Rowan gave a sharp nod. "Move carefully. Do not touch the fire." They entered. The golden flames moved as though alive, shifting to block their way. Daniel took the lead, guided by instinct. He stepped where the light dimmed, and the path appeared solid. The others followed his footsteps. Twice, the fire rose suddenly, nearly trapping them, but Daniel pushed forward, finding the safe way each time. At last, they reached the end. The door opened, and the flames vanished behind them. They stepped into another circular chamber. This time, only two doors remained, the ones marked with hands and the eye. Myra let out a slow breath. So it truly is a series of trials. We passed the first courage. Now it will test the next. Daniel approached the second door. The symbol of the joined hands glowed brightly when he touched it. The door opened, revealing a wide chamber with a deep chasm splitting it in half. The gap was too wide to jump, and the bridge that once crossed it was broken into pieces. At the far side was the glowing door. "Unity," Rowan murmured. "It wants to see if we can work together." The crew searched the edges of the chamber. They found heavy golden beams lying near the broken bridge. It became clear they would need to rebuild a path across. They worked together, lifting beams and setting them in place. It was not easy. The beams were heavier than stone, and the chasm stretched far below, glowing with endless golden mist. Twice, one of the beams slipped, almost falling, but Daniel and Myra caught it together. Sweat ran down their faces as they struggled. Finally, the bridge held. Rowan tested it first, walking across slowly. It creaked but remained strong. One by one, they crossed. Daniel went last, feeling the floor shake under his boots. When he reached the far side, the glowing door opened, and the bridge vanished behind them, falling into the mist. The final chamber awaited them. Only the door marked with the eye remained. Daniel touched it, and the door slid open. Inside was a small room with a single mirror made of gold. The surface reflected not their faces but their thoughts. When Daniel stepped closer, he saw himself as he truly was, uncertain, yet willing to carry responsibility. Myra gasped when she looked, seeing her own doubts. Rowan stared silently, his reflection showing his fear of failing his crew. The voice of the pyramid returned, calm and strong. "Truth is not what you show to others. Truth is what you admit to yourself. Only then can you move forward." One by one, each member stepped before the mirror. Some trembled at what they saw, but none turned away. When Daniel's turn came again, the mirror brightened. It showed him standing before the pyramid, not as a lost explorer, but as someone chosen to carry its burden. The mirror faded. The wall behind it opened, revealing a staircase leading deeper into the pyramid. Rowan placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "You led us through. Whatever lies below, it is meant for you." Daniel felt the weight of those words. The trials had tested courage, unity, and truth. He had not passed them alone, but the pyramid seemed to guide him most of all. With the crew beside him, he stepped onto the staircase. The golden light grew stronger with each step, pulling them deeper into the heart of the pyramid of endless gold. The golden staircase carried Daniel and the crew deeper into the pyramid. The air grew warmer, filled with a steady hum that vibrated through the walls. Golden symbols lined the steps, glowing brighter with every movement. The crew followed silently, each lost in thought about the trials they had just faced. At the bottom, they entered a vast chamber. The ceiling rose so high it vanished into shadow, while the floor shone like polished glass. At the center stood a great golden door, larger than any they had seen before. It pulsed with light, like a heart beating slowly. Daniel stepped closer. He felt drawn to it, the same way he had been drawn to the earlier doors. He raised his hand, but before he touched the surface, Myra's scanner beeped sharply. "Something is happening outside," she said, frowning at her screen. "Large energy signals. Multiple engines entering the atmosphere." Rowan's face tightened. "Ships." Before Myra could answer, the walls of the chamber shifted. Panels slid open, revealing glowing windows that showed the desert outside. Through the swirling sandstorm, dark shapes cut through the skies. Massive ships descended, their hulls marked with the sharp symbols of an alien warrior race known across the stars, the Drakari. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The Drakari were known for conquest. Wherever they went, they claimed resources, ruins, and technology for themselves. If they had tracked the humans here, it could only mean one thing: they had been searching for the pyramid as well. "We have to move," Rowan said firmly. "If they enter, they will not let us leave alive." But as if in answer, the golden door behind them began to glow brighter. A rumbling sound echoed through the chamber, and slowly, the door slid open. Beyond it was another path, lined with golden light. Daniel hesitated. His heart pulled him forward, but his ears caught the distant sound of footsteps and metal clanging from above. The Drakari were inside. Moments later, the heavy doors behind them burst open. Warriors in dark armor stormed in, tall and broad, their eyes burning with a sharp red glow. At their front was their commander, a towering figure named Korok. His voice rang through the chamber. "Step away from the gate, humans. The pyramid of endless gold belongs to the Drakari." Rowan stood tall. "This world is unclaimed. We discovered this place first." Korok laughed, a harsh sound. "Do you think discovery gives you right? Power belongs to the strong. You are weak, and this treasure is ours." The Drakari soldiers spread out, weapons humming with energy. The humans drew their own tools, though they knew they were outnumbered. Myra whispered to Daniel, "If they force the pyramid, everything could be lost." But then something strange happened. One of the Drakari soldiers tried to step toward the golden door. The moment his boot touched the glowing path, the light flickered and vanished. The soldier stumbled back, growling in frustration. Another tried, but the same thing happened: the pyramid refused them. Korok's eyes narrowed. His gaze shifted to Daniel, who stood closest to the door. The golden light brightened beneath Daniel's feet, glowing stronger as he stood tall. Korok's face twisted in anger. "So it chooses you," he hissed. "A fragile human." The crew exchanged glances. It was clear now, the pyramid would not open for the Drakari. It responded only to Daniel. Rowan spoke in a low voice to his crew. "We cannot fight them here. But the pyramid gives us an advantage. We move forward. Stay close to Daniel." Korok raised his weapon, but before he gave the order to attack, the golden door widened, spilling brilliant light across the chamber. The light surged around Daniel and his team, forming a shield that blocked the Drakari's weapons. Bolts of energy struck the barrier but dissolved into harmless sparks. Daniel felt the hum of the pyramid through his body. It was protecting them, but it also demanded that he make a choice: go forward, or risk everything. He looked at Rowan, Myra, and the others. It wants us to keep going. If we stay, we will be trapped. If we go, maybe we'll learn why it chose me. Rowan nodded. Then lead the way. Together, the humans stepped through the golden door. As soon as they crossed the threshold, the barrier faded, and the door sealed shut behind them, locking the Drakari out. Their angry shouts echoed faintly, but the crew knew it was only a matter of time before the warriors found another way in. The new passage stretched ahead, glowing brighter than any they had seen so far. The walls pulsed like veins filled with golden light. At the far end, a faint sound echoed, like the slow beating of a drum. Daniel walked at the front, his steps steady despite his racing heart. The pyramid had chosen him, and now even the Drakari had been forced to see it. But what lay deeper inside? Was it truly endless gold, or something far greater? Behind him, Myra whispered to Rowan, "If the Drakari cannot enter, but Daniel can, then this pyramid was never meant for them. It was meant for us." Rowan's face was grim. Then humanity must prove worthy before they return. Daniel glanced back at his crew, then forward again. The glowing passage pulled him onward, promising secrets that could change not only their lives but the future of all humanity. The real test had only just begun. The glowing passage led Daniel and the crew deeper into the heart of the pyramid. The walls pulsed like living veins, golden light flowing in smooth waves. The air grew warmer, carrying a faint rhythm, like the slow beating of a giant heart. Every step Daniel took seemed to echo louder than the last. No one spoke for a long while. Each of them felt the weight of silence pressing down. They had escaped the Drakari for now, but the memory of their commander's glare stayed sharp in Daniel's mind. He knew the aliens would not give up. They would find another way in. That meant whatever lay ahead had to be discovered quickly. At last, the corridor widened into a chamber so large that Daniel gasped. The ceiling arched high above like the sky itself, glowing faintly with soft golden clouds. The walls shimmered with streams of liquid gold, flowing downward into channels across the floor. The air was filled with a low hum, steady and calm, like the heartbeat of the pyramid itself. In the center of the chamber stood something even more breathtaking. A figure of pure gold, tall and broad, shaped like both man and machine. It stood still, but its surface rippled faintly, as if alive. Golden light shone from its chest, casting long rays across the floor. Myra whispered, her voice trembling. "It is not a statue. It is a guardian." As if hearing her words, the golden figure moved. Its eyes lit with white fire, and its voice echoed across the chamber, deep and clear. "Welcome, children of Earth. You have passed the trials. You have been chosen to stand here." The crew froze in shock. They had expected ruins, machines, or treasures, but not a being that spoke directly to them. Rowan raised his chin, his voice steady despite the awe in his tone. "Who built this place? Why does it answer to us?" The Guardian's eyes glowed brighter. "Long before your time, a race older than the stars shaped wonders across the galaxy. They watched many species, but they saw in humans a spark different from the rest. Will to endure. Will to rise." Daniel felt his chest tighten. The Guardian spoke as if humans had been chosen long ago, as if the pyramid had been waiting for them. The Guardian raised one great hand, and the floor shifted. The streams of gold rose like rivers, swirling through the air, forming towers and bridges before dissolving back into the floor. "This is the endless gold, the treasure of the ancients. It is not mere wealth. It is power. It can fuel worlds, heal dying lands, and shape new stars. But it can also destroy, if used with greed. The golden streams reflected in Daniel's eyes. He had never seen anything so beautiful or so dangerous. The others stared in silence, their faces pale with wonder and fear. Myra spoke softly. "Why us? Why not the Drakari? They are stronger. They rule worlds." The guardian's voice was firm. "Strength without wisdom brings ruin. The Drakari came with conquest in their hearts. The pyramid closed to them. But you came with questions, and you faced the trials together. Courage, unity, and truth, these are the keys that open this place." Rowan stepped forward. "If this power is endless, then what must we do with it?" The guardian's head turned slowly toward Daniel. Its glowing eyes focused on him. "The choice is not mine. It is his." Every gaze shifted to Daniel. He felt his breath catch. His legs felt heavy, yet he forced himself to stand tall. "Why me?" he asked quietly. The guardian's voice was like thunder softened by distance. "Because the pyramid answered your touch. It saw your heart, uncertain yet unbroken. That is enough. The endless gold will serve only one who chooses with care." Daniel's thoughts swirled. This was greater than anything he had ever dreamed. The pyramid was offering him power beyond measure. He imagined healing ruined planets, building new homes for billions, lifting humanity into a golden age. Yet he also saw the shadows, the greed, the wars, the destruction if such power was misused. Myra stepped beside him. "Daniel, think carefully. This is not just about us. This is about all of humanity." Rowan's voice was steady. "Whatever you choose, we stand with you. But remember, the Drakari are waiting. If you claim this power carelessly, they will stop at nothing to take it." The guardian raised both hands, and the streams of gold rose higher, filling the chamber with brilliant light. "The choice is near. You may claim the endless gold, and humanity will hold the fire of creation. Or you may seal it, leaving only a fragment to guide your kind when they are ready. What you decide will echo across ages." Daniel's chest tightened. He looked at the streams of living gold, flowing like rivers of light. He thought of Earth, of his home, of people who dreamed of a better life among the stars. He thought of the Drakari outside, clawing for conquest. He thought of himself, a simple explorer, standing in a place meant for legends. The chamber fell silent. All waited for his answer. And Daniel knew the real test was not courage, unity, or truth. The real test was choice. Daniel stood at the center of the golden chamber, the endless streams of living gold swirling around him like rivers of light. The guardian's eyes glowed steadily, watching every movement, every thought. The air hummed with power, filling the chamber with a sense of both awe and warning. Every member of the crew waited silently, knowing this moment would change everything. Myra stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. "Daniel, this is not just about you. It is about all humanity. What you do here will shape the future." Daniel looked at the streams of gold, imagining the incredible power they held. He could see entire planets healed, cities built in an instant, and energy enough to fuel human expansion into distant stars. The temptation was overwhelming. Every instinct in him screamed to reach out and claim it, to lift humanity above every challenge. But then he remembered the Drakari outside. If he took this power, they would come again, stronger and angrier. Wars would rage across worlds. Millions, maybe billions, could suffer. Even some of his own crew had whispered about using the gold to enrich themselves. He saw how easily power could corrupt. Rowan placed a hand on his shoulder. You have always chosen carefully, Daniel. Do not let fear or pride guide you. Think of what is right, not what is easy. Daniel nodded slowly. His mind raced through possibilities. If he took the endless gold, humans would gain unmatched power. But what if greed overtook them? The pyramid itself had been built to test worthiness, to give power only to those who would use it wisely. Could anyone truly be trusted with it? The guardian spoke, its voice calm but filled with authority. The choice is yours, Daniel. Take the power, or seal it away. Only the one who chooses wisely can shape the future without destruction. Daniel turned to Myra and the rest of the crew. Their faces were tense, full of hope and fear. He saw their trust in him, and it strengthened his resolve. He thought of humanity flawed, yes, but capable of courage, of unity, and of truth. Perhaps the best choice was not to claim the gold for himself, but to ensure humanity would grow into the wisdom needed to handle it. He took a deep breath. I cannot take this power for myself. It is too dangerous, too easy to misuse. But the pyramid has given us knowledge, and a chance to learn from it. The guardian's eyes flared with light, the hum in the chamber growing louder. Then you choose wisely. The gold will remain here, protected until humanity is ready. But a fragment will be given, as a guide and a reminder. A single shard of living gold separated from the streams, floating gently toward Daniel. It was small compared to the immense power of the chamber, but it radiated warmth and light. When Daniel touched it, he felt a connection to the pyramid, a quiet understanding of the responsibility he now carried. Myra stepped forward, her eyes wide. It chose you to carry this shard. Daniel nodded, holding it carefully. Yes. Not to use for wealth, or power, but as a symbol. As a guide. Humanity can grow, but only if we act with care. Rowan looked around the chamber. The Drakari will not understand. They will come back. Daniel's eyes hardened. Let them. They cannot enter here. This pyramid sees more than they do. We are the ones who must protect it, and when the time comes, humanity will be ready. The golden streams shifted, forming a protective dome around the shard. The chamber pulsed once, then the light dimmed slightly. The pyramid had accepted his decision. It was no longer a test, but a trust. Outside, the distant sounds of the Drakari could still be heard. Their ships hovered above the desert, scanning for the pyramid. Daniel knew they would not leave easily, but the pyramid's power would keep them out. For now, humanity had won a rare victory not of conquest, but of restraint. Myra smiled softly at Daniel. You did the right thing. You did not take the easy path. You chose humanity over power. Daniel held the shard up, watching its golden light ripple through his fingers. This is not the end. It is the beginning. We have a responsibility, and we must learn from it. One day, humanity may be ready for the full power, but not today. Rowan nodded. Then we protect it, and we guide humanity carefully. That is the legacy of this pyramid. The guardian stepped back, its great form fading into the golden streams. You have chosen wisely. Remember this moment, Daniel. Humanity is not yet ready for endless gold, but it is ready for wisdom. Carry it forward. As the crew left the chamber, the golden door behind them closed, sealing the rest of the pyramid once more. The shard remained with Daniel, a small spark of power and a reminder of responsibility. Outside, the desert stretched under twin suns, the Drakari still waiting, unaware that they could not enter. Daniel looked at his crew. We did the right thing. Now, we take what we learned and return. Humanity must grow on its own. Myra nodded. And one day, when we are ready, we will return. The shard pulsed gently in Daniel's hand, a promise of guidance for the future. The pyramid of endless gold had trusted humanity, and in doing so, had placed its hope in their hands. Daniel took a deep breath. The real work was just beginning. The golden pyramid stood silent beneath the twin suns of Orion, its immense structure still glowing faintly even from a distance. Daniel and the crew climbed back into the rover, their bodies tired from the trials, yet their hearts filled with awe and purpose. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, waves of sand reflecting the light of the setting suns. The shard of gold in Daniel's hand pulsed softly, a gentle reminder of the choice he had made. Though small, it carried the wisdom of the pyramid, a spark of power meant to guide humanity rather than dominate it. Daniel held it carefully, knowing that one careless action could undo all they had learned. "Do you think we will ever come back?" Myra asked, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. Daniel shook his head slowly. "Perhaps. But only when humanity is ready. For now, our job is to protect this knowledge and to learn from it ourselves." Rowan started the rover's engines, the soft hum breaking the quiet. "The Drakari are still out there," he said. "They will not give up easily. We must report carefully, or they will follow." Daniel nodded. "We will. But they cannot enter the pyramid. Its protections are stronger than their weapons, stronger than their fleet. That gives us time. Time to grow." As they drove across the golden sands, Daniel thought about the significance of the pyramid. It was not just a structure of wealth, but a test of character. It had chosen them because it saw qualities in humans that were rare: courage, unity, truth, and the ability to make the right choice even when faced with unimaginable power. The journey back to their ship was quiet. Each member of the crew was lost in thought, reflecting on what they had seen. Daniel felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The shard was more than a guide, it was a symbol of trust from a civilization far older and wiser than humanity itself. When they reached the orbiting ship, the crew prepared to send their initial reports. They could not reveal the pyramid's full secrets, only the location and the discovery of an ancient structure. Humanity was not yet ready to know the full truth, and revealing too much could spark greed or conflict. Daniel stood at the observation deck, holding the golden shard. Through the viewports, Orion's desert stretched endlessly below. The pyramid rested untouched, its golden light glowing faintly like a heartbeat in the sand. It was a reminder that some things must remain protected until the right time. "Do you ever wonder why it chose us?" Myra asked, stepping beside him. Daniel turned the shard slowly in his hand. "I think it saw something in us. Something worth trusting. And it gave us a chance to prove that humans can make the right choices, even when it is hard." Rowan joined them, placing a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "You led us through trials no one else could have passed. That choice you made today, it is bigger than any treasure. It is the reason we will be remembered." Daniel smiled faintly, looking at the small piece of gold. It was a spark, a seed, something that could guide humanity toward greatness without giving them the temptation to destroy themselves. It was proof that humans could be more than conquerors, they could be guardians. The reports were sent, careful to hide the pyramid's secrets, and soon, Daniel and the crew returned to Earth. The shard remained with Daniel, safely contained within a small protective case. He shared it only with trusted leaders and scientists, teaching them not to exploit its power but to learn from it. It became a symbol, a reminder that wisdom and restraint were more valuable than gold. Years passed. Daniel watched as humanity slowly grew, exploring new planets, building cities on distant worlds, and working together more than ever before. The story of the pyramid spread quietly among the explorers, a legend of caution and hope. Humans learned that real strength was not in taking power, but in knowing when to wait, when to act, and when to protect. One evening, Daniel returned to the observation deck of a new space station orbiting Earth. The shard glowed softly in his hand, a calm light that reflected in his eyes. He thought of the pyramid on Orion, still standing, still waiting, its lessons preserved for future generations. He whispered quietly, almost to himself, "We are ready. Not for gold, not for power, but for the responsibility that comes with being human." The golden shard pulsed gently in response, as if the pyramid had heard him and approved. Daniel knew the pyramid had left humanity a gift far greater than treasure. It had left a legacy of trust, wisdom, and hope. And as humanity reached toward the stars, carrying the lessons of courage, unity, and truth, the pyramid of endless gold remained on Orion, waiting quietly for the day when humans would be ready to take their next step, guided by the wisdom it had already entrusted to them. Daniel smiled, holding the shard close. Humanity had not gained endless gold, but something far greater, the proof that they could rise above temptation, and the knowledge that they were seen as capable of greatness. The pyramid's light continued to shine softly across the desert, a silent promise that humans were more than seekers of treasure, they were guardians of it.